Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Roll Cougs Weekly. I'm Aiden Voorhees.
I'm Kendall Janosko.
And here's everything you might have missed from the past week of Chatham Athletics. Stick around at the end of this episode for a special interview with Chatham women's hockey coach Mike O'Grady.
On November 5th, the women's ice hockey team played against Lebanon Valley and lost the game 5-4. The Chatham goal scorers include Rainey Jessup for her first of the season, assisted by Ella Sheffer and Lily Schmier. Sophia Taylor collected a second goal of the season, assisted by Morgan Black and Reese Griffin, and a third goal of the season for her first career multi-goal game, assisted by Rainey Jessup and Morgan Black. Morgan Black also got her second of the season, assisted by Rainey Jessup.
On Wednesday, November 6th, women's volleyball defeated Bethany 3-0. Paige Watson had 11 kills and 3 blocks for the Cougars. Ava Plunkard recorded 3 aces, 3 blocks, and 30 assists, and Alyssa Leskovac came away with 20 digs for Chatham.
On November 8th, women's ice hockey played against Utica and lost the game 7-0.
On Saturday, November 9th, Chatham defeated Teal 3-2, coming back from down 2-1. In the first set, Ava Plunkard recorded her 1,000th career assist as a Cougar. Becca Gesner was Chatham's leader in kills with 14, and she had 3 aces and 1 block. Natalie Keogh had a block as well. Sierra Ritchie had 21 digs, and Ava Plunkard had 23 assists. Chatham's record to finish the regular season is 7-3 in the pack and 11-12 overall. They'll be the 3rd seed in the pack tournament beginning on Tuesday.
And on November 9th, women's ice hockey played against Utica for their second game and lost 7-0 as well. At the end of the week, the women's ice hockey UCHC record is 0-2-0 with an overall record of 0-4-1, placing them 3rd in the UCHC.
On November 8th, women's basketball defeated Penn College in their season opening game 91-35. Ashley Loudon netted 20 points for Chatham. Dominique Pacheco had 5 assists. Madison Nero had 10 rebounds, and Charjay Brock came away with 4 steals in the game.
On November 8th, the men's ice hockey team played against SUNY Geneseo, number 6th in the nation, and lost 5-1. The Chatham goal came from Andrew Martino for his first of the season, assisted by Camden Smith.
On Saturday, November 9th, Chatham was defeated by St. John Fisher 73-63. Alyssa Laukas had 16 points in that one with a block. Ashley Loudon and Hannah Chanot came away with 3 assists. Madison Nero had 10 rebounds, and Dominique Pacheco had 4 steals in the game. Chatham's now 1-1 on the season after that weekend.
And on November 9th, Chatham men's ice hockey team played their second game against SUNY Geneseo and lost 6-3. The goals came from Tyler Samadral, who scored his first of the season, assisted by Devin Nebosny and Cadson Johnson. Milan Cermak scored his first of the season, assisted by Brendan Merriman and Dylan Young. And Beck McLean scored his first of the season, assisted by True Crow and Nick Cyprian. At the end of the week, the men's ice hockey team is a 0-2-0 in the UCHC and an 0-2-0 overall, placing them 6th in the UCHC.
Also on Saturday, Chatham defeated Carlow 67-51 in men's basketball in their season opener. Drew Weisner scored 13 points for Chatham. Blaine Gartley had 4 assists. Levinson Xavier had 7 rebounds, and Gian Pickett had 5 steals and a block.
And on November 9th, men's and women's swim were at West Virginia Wesleyan. The men's team lost 66-83. Cal Hockman came in first on the 100-yard backstroke and first in the 100-yard breaststroke. Caleb Trainum also came in first on the 100-yard butterfly and first in the 200 individual medley. The women's team won the match 101-78, with last week's PAC Newcomer of the Week, Hannah Urinek, coming in first in the 200-yard freestyle and first in the 100-yard butterfly. Elena Kircher also came in first for the 1 mile.
On Sunday, Chatham traveled to Robert Morris for their second game in an exhibition. Blaine Gartley had 12 points to lead Chatham with 2 blocks. Dion Pickett had 2 assists and 3 steals, and Luca Robinson came away with 7 rebounds in Moon Township. Chatham is now 1-0 on the season, with the exhibition not counting as a loss.
And coming up, the men's ice hockey team will be at Nazareth for 2 games. Game 1 will be November 15th at 7 p.m. Game 2 will be November 16th at 3 p.m. The head-to-head history between the two teams is 5-10, and their last meeting on February 17th ended in a 5-2 Chatham win. Nazareth's UCHC record is 0-2-0 with an overall record of 1-2-0, placing them 4th in the UCHC, 2 spots ahead of Chatham.
Coming up this week on Tuesday, November 12th, Chatham will take on Teal in the PAC quarterfinals of the volleyball tournament. Chatham's a 3 seed. They'll host Teal, the number 6 seed, who in their last match they defeated 3-2 on Saturday. Teal is 5-5 in the PAC and 17-8 overall. On Wednesday, November 13th, the women's basketball team will travel to Fredonia for a 6 p.m. tip. Their last match and only match between the two teams was in 2022, with Chatham coming away with a 65-56 win. Fredonia is 2-0 overall. Men's basketball will host Carnegie Mellon on Wednesday with a 7 p.m. tip-off. Their last match was last season, with Carnegie Mellon taking the W 77-62. Carnegie Mellon is 1-0 overall. On Friday, November 15th, men's and women's squash will be at Dickinson with a 5 p.m. start time. On Saturday, November 16th, Chatham women's basketball will travel to Penn State Barons. The teams last played in 2022, with Penn State Barons taking a 78-64 win. Overall, Penn State Barons is 1-1 on the season. Men's basketball will travel to Teal for a 3 p.m. tip on Saturday. With the head-to-head history, Chatham is 11-6 against Teal. They last played in 2024, with Teal taking the W 60-59. Overall, Teal is 1-1 on the season. Men's and women's squash will be at Franklin and Marshall at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Men's and women's cross country will be at Lock Haven, PA for the women's NCAA championships, and the men will be at the Mid-Atlantic Regionals for a 12 p.m. start time. On Sunday, men's and women's squash will be at Drexel at 9 a.m. and at Penn at 1 p.m. All right, we've got a special guest here on Roll Cougs Weekly. We've got women's hockey coach Mike O'Grady. Coach O'Grady, how do you approach the grind of being a college hockey coach with these long days and long nights that it takes?
I mean, it's a grind, but it's a grind we love, right? That's why we coach. You know, we love the sport and, you know, being around our players and the student athletes that are here on campus. So, you know, obviously we just kind of do it for the love of the game, and then it doesn't really become a grind. There are certainly long days and different things that come up along the way, and you find time to, you know, relax when you can. I know a couple of questions you want to ask later are outside hobbies and things like that, so we'll talk about that then and how we keep balance.
Yeah, so you coached at Nichols College, Mercyhurst, and U of Maine. What are some of the things you learned from those experiences that you use at Chatham?
I think Mercyhurst was really interesting because that's where I did my master's, and at the time in the organizational leadership structure of the program I was in, they were really teaching change and organizational change. So that kind of comes into play later. From the hockey side, I was operations, I was goalie coach, I was doing video, things like that. So I learned how to cut video, you know, obviously work with the goalies, but I also learned a lot from Coach Sisti and Lou Goulet, who were there, and Delaney Collins, of just like how to run a championship program. I mean, at the time, Mercyhurst had been in the NCAA tournament for 10 years running, which was a record. And, you know, we lost the first year I was there and then made it back the second year. So just to see how they ran the program and structured practices and day-to-day and things like that was really interesting. At Maine, honestly, I learned how to recruit. I was the guy on the road, watching kids play, things like that. You know, I'll talk to recruits that always tell a story. Like, there was 5 kids we were recruiting, and we were watching them so much that we knew when they changed their tape job, those type of things, like those minute details, and which was really interesting. And then obviously leaving UMaine to go to Nichols, you know, the program when I took over at Nichols was 123-1. And that's where the organizational change, education background kind of came in for my master's, and I was able to apply that, figuring out how to get kids to buy in, who the naysayers were, who we had to kind of convince a little bit more, and you know, we were able to turn it around to be 500 that first year, and then a winning record the second year. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, recruiting has a lot to do with that. organizational turnaround. You talk to a lot of players from different states and different parts of the country. How do you navigate those geographical differences?
I mean, we talk to kids from all over the place, right? Europeans, Canadians, things like that. One of our current players speaks French, and is fluent in French as well, and things. So obviously there can be a language barrier sometimes. Google Translate's helpful for that. But at the end of the day, like we're flexible, right? Whether it's utilizing, admissions, video tours, or I'm very well known with my players for doing FaceTime tours of campus and walking around campus and showing them that, and everything, just being able to, when they are a little bit further away geographically, to get them kind of here and interested, using the power of social media and our technology that we have at our disposal to help share our story. And then obviously the end goal is to get them here to campus so they can actually feel what it feels like to be here and kind of, feel the vibe with the team and meet the players and have that experience.
How do you define success? What would a successful season look like to you?
Winning's a part of it, right? Like at the end of the day, winning's a part of it. I think along the way we have to continually get better. We want to be playing our best hockey at the end of the season. And so, like this year's a little different with the makeup of our conference. We know we're in playoffs, right? We know there's 4 teams and everybody's making it. So we're really focused on this year taking another step forward each game and getting better and, finding a way to, improve something, right? This weekend we didn't score too many goals, and stuff, but the structure of our forecheck, the things we were trying to do were there, right? And so now, like today's practice, we worked on a lot of scoring and attacking offensively.
So after living in Erie, Maine, and Massachusetts, how do you compare Pittsburgh to those regions? What's your favorite part of the Pittsburgh region?
Pittsburgh reminds me a lot of Maine, kind of woodsy, outdoorsy, right? It's the best of both worlds for me. I'm not a true big city guy. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, River City, a lot like Pittsburgh. And so for me, it allows me to have the best of both worlds, where I've got the city, just like our students can experience, where you can go to concerts, you can go to pro sports games, you can, go to a park, you can do those things, but then you could also be outdoors, right? I love to golf, love to fish, things like that. I can be in a river in 10 minutes from here at campus. I can be on a golf course in 15, right? So it works out really well. Or even quicker if I go over to Bob O'Connor, right? So it works out nicely.
Yeah, that Shenley course is nice on that hill. Got the view of the city. So we got Thanksgiving coming up. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food? I know I'm a big ham over turkey guy.
I'm a corn casserole guy. It's a family tradition, so that and everything. So I've learned to make it, recreate it, and everything. So that's probably one of my favorite things, where I always have to have that, and then stuffed mushrooms. My dad knows when I come home for holidays, he's got to have those. So it works out well.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Chatham women's hockey getting their season underway. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Roll Cougs Weekly. I'm Aiden Voorhees.
I'm Kendall Janosko.
And tune back in next week for more Chatham Athletics.